Welcome everyone to the 2025 Ford Explorer here in the active trim with the entry-level 4-cylinder engine under the hood, 2.3 liter turbocharged EcoBoost engine. Honestly, it's quite nice. So we're going to go take this 2025 Explorer on a drive, and I think the first thing that you're all going to notice is this incredibly updated interior. It's a huge upgrade from before. We have the new Ford digital experience, and of course all that stuff we're going to go over in my full tour and review, so definitely go check that out. But everything may be baked into these screens now, but I think it honestly works quite well most of the time. Just had some issues with Apple CarPlay connecting and disconnecting now and then, which is kind of cool because you can expand it to make it pretty big like this if you want a nice big view, and that works in pretty much all of the apps as well, which is a nice touch. But heading off, pretty easy. We have our control selector over here for our shifter and that dial format over here. We have a reversing camera, though no 360 cameras on this particular Explorer. Unfortunately, that's still part of a package, but for an entry-level version of the Explorer with around one-ish big package, you're getting still quite a lot of nice features here. No paddle shifters. We do have a low range mode for this 10-speed automatic gearbox, as well as braking hold, which is a nice feature. So let's head off. I have plenty of drive modes to choose from in the facelifted Explorer, and really nice graphics that kind of play with them up here on our digital cluster. We have normal, eco, sport, tow haul, as well as slippery, and even an off-road mode as well. But we're going to put it in eco and then kind of cycle through the different modes to see what's changed. Off the bat, this 4-cylinder engine is actually quite smooth to my surprise. I think they've kind of redeveloped the sound of the engine just a little bit for this facelifted Explorer, because it sounds a little bit smoother and has this nice unique grunt to it, even in sport mode, that kind of pumps in some active sound through the speakers, which actually sounds quite nice. But going around town, this engine is good. You don't really feel like you're missing out on the V6 unless you really want that additional power, which you're going to get in the ST, and you can optionally get it as well in the Platinum. I think this is a perfect engine for around town. You're getting decent MPG, nothing too crazy. You're going to probably see around 20-ish combined. On the highway, it could be a little bit higher, up to around 27 MPG with this all-wheel drive model. Now, heading out onto the road here, we're going to pop it into the sport mode, and I want you guys to pay attention to the pumped-in audio that Ford has put into this 2025 Explorer. And it's pretty quick with around 300 horsepower and just around the same with torque. You also never feel slow in this Explorer whatsoever, even in highway scenarios. It's really good at getting up to speed quite quickly with that nice low-end torque from this EcoBoost engine. Same thing can be said with this 10-speed auto. They've definitely worked on the tuning with this gearbox. It's a lot smoother. You don't really feel like it's ever gear hunting, and you honestly don't even notice the shifts 99% of the time. It's just so in the background, and that's exactly what you want with this kind of vehicle. It's not looking to be a sporty performance vehicle. It's just looking to be a smooth, comfortable family hauler. And of course, on the police end, this is one of the most popular police vehicles, and that vehicle is going to be tuned way differently than this on-road one we're all getting as consumers. But we are losing the options of plug-in hybrids or anything now around, so you really just get to those two engine options. Now, how is the Explorer out on the road in terms of handling? I think they've also improved this for the 2025 model year with this facelift. I think it's well tuned, pretty comfortable. I was really impressed with the ride off the bat in this Explorer. I think it handles itself on the road quite well. I've looked at some things of the past. Some people have said the Explorer came off as a little bit busy on the roads, but I really haven't noticed that. I think it's quite smooth, especially on even pavement and even on broken pavement. I think it's pretty smooth. Only issues I think I would come across is there's a lot of wind buffeting up in this upper portion over here. I can notice on the highway. I'm not sure where it's coming from. It could be from the roof rails, but if there's anything to point out there about this general driving experience, it would be that. Acceleration in eco mode is definitely a little bit on the softer side. But you definitely do get some of that engine noise still from under the hood, and not even pumped in as you're going to get in sport mode. So I like that. It has a nice natural grunt to it, and it doesn't even sound that much like a 4-cylinder. Honestly, if I got on this, it could have been a V6. It's that kind of smooth and power dense of an engine. One thing I would like improved is the steering feel isn't really incredible, but again, that's not really what this vehicle is meant for at the end of the day. Not too the biggest fan of the steering wheel shape. I think that could honestly fix in that, but But even going around corners, it is very well planted, minimal body roll, which is pretty nice. Overall, pretty good compliant driving experience. We know this vehicle is based on the Ford CD6 platform, so it's rear-wheel drive bias, front engine, not transverse. It's a regular longitudinal platform, so it has good chassis dynamics. Let's head out here onto the highway real quick. A small acceleration test from this EcoBoost 4-cylinder. And we are already up to highway speeds quite quickly. Yes, it's a little bit of a downslope over here, but even on flat surfaces, really no issues getting up to speed on the highway. And here in sport mode, you can kind of hear that pumped in engine sound. I'm gonna put it in eco and normal for a second, and here's a difference with the sound when accelerating. So you definitely notice it's a little bit quieter out here on the highway when not in sport mode in this interior, but out here on the highway you can hear it's pretty quiet. That truck's just a little bit loud, so please pardon that sound, but I think it's quite comfortable. Don't feel like it's lane hunting or anything, and we have pretty good safety systems on this 2025 Explorer, which a lot of it comes standard, which is quite nice. This one has full adaptive cruise control, blind spot monitoring, lane keep assist, all these different collision warnings and stuff, so I think it works pretty well. It's easy to access from the left-hand side of your steering wheel. You really just pop it in and it's ready to go. And of course you can now get Blue Cruise on the higher end versions of the new 2025 Explorer, which allow for hands-free driving, and those vehicles will have a little bit of a sensor sticking out of the steering wheel here to monitor your eyes, to make sure you're always looking at the road, to make sure you can get into that hands-free mode. But this system alone works really well. You have to keep your hands on the steering wheel at all times, of course, for these style systems, but it's it's a better system in the sense that it's always going to be driving. It's not pogoing you back in between the lanes. It's going to be centered in the lanes at all times. You can see it's steering itself around this corner right now, for example, so it's doing well. Things with the Blue Cruise though, you will get things like active lane change assist, so it'll help you merge in and out of lanes, which is kind of cool. This one doesn't do that, but overall I think as a cruise control system it works quite nice. And it's easy to deactivate and reactivate as well. Another fun feature with this car is that we have a full map up here as well now on this digital cluster, which I quite like. And it also works with Apple Maps. So once it loads right here, you can see it's going to open up in Google Maps. This is now going to change over to Apple Maps. Awesome, that's really cool. So I like having that versatility up there. This is that new Google-based system. That's really what that's going to allow for you, which is really cool. Otherwise, you can kind of get rid of this view and you'll still get some trip information and navigation information in the other displays when a turn is prompted up right over here in your center cluster, which is a nice touch as well. And I like this clean display as well. You have a lot of different customizable options now in the 25 Explorer, and you can always option this thing out to be way more intense than what you already have. You can get a Bang & Olufsen audio system. You can get that nice panoramic glass roof, which I wish this one had so we could experience it over the course of this week. But I'm really impressed with the upgrades here. This new digital experience we're having in the Explorer really elevates it up to a higher bar, I think. And Ford's really focused and worked on a lot of quality and just build management in here. It feels really solid all around. Really no complaints there. And I'm also really impressed with the performance of this engine, like I said, out on the highway and on around roads. It's pretty efficient, pretty smooth, and overall a really nice cohesive experience. So definitely look at the 2025 Explorer if you're shopping around in this mid-size SUV segment and need that third row. It's not the biggest third row in the segment, but definitely can haul some kids around back there and put them down when you need a little bit more storage space in that trunk. So good job Ford on this 2025 Explorer, and I'm really impressed with even just this entry-level active trim. And of course we have plenty of other trims to explore. Hopefully we'll get a chance to get into the new ST with the twin turbo V6. Again, nothing really has changed on performance front there, but I want to experience that version of the Explorer with all of these new upgrades as well to really see what the higher end of the Explorers are now offering. As always, guys, thank you for joining me on yet another video over here at All Car News, and as always, stay tuned for more coming soon. Cheers.